Welcome back to the Breaking and Kintsugi Repair of Stone series. This week we're going to look at Crazy Lace Agate, which again is another form of agate, which we've looked at a few, but this one has some real differences from what we've seen before. So here are two examples of naturally colored Crazy Lace Agate. Like other agates, it is a banded chalcedony or a microcrystalline quartz, same thing, but Crazy Lace Agates has deposits of iron and aluminum in it that give it unusual characteristics. It's well known for its range of colors. You can see here this one's kind of more yellow and gray. This one is green and brown. And it also is known for its very complex patterns that you see in the stone itself. So like I said, these two are perfectly natural. They are undyed. They also come, this is a very commonly dyed material. So here are three in common colors that I see in dyed form. You can see this one still has a lot of natural brown in it, but has more of a purple. This is a pinkish purple. This one is more of a kind of a turquoise blue. But again, you see those very complex patterns from the iron and aluminum deposits in it. Also here you see more of the patterns than we did in the agate that we've looked at before. You'll notice it also doesn't have that same translucent characteristic as of the other quartz. It's not quite as shiny and it's not see-through at all. One other type of Crazy Lace Agate I see is even more brightly dyed, and I have these in my Greek Cross series, and all three of these come in very, very brightly dyed colors that to me are very obviously dyed because I've never seen natural stones quite this color. So there's the bright blue, the fuchsia, and the bright green. So what we're going to do now is take this bright green and break it, and we'll see what it looks like on the inside and how it breaks compared to the others, and we'll be back after that. And here's what we get after breaking. As we've seen in other agates, it does tend to break into a lot of pieces. Because this was curved on both sides, it tends to break a little more than some others do. So if we get rid of the teeny tiny pieces, we can see as we look in here, we get a little bit of that conchoidal look with the curvature here. But not nearly like we did in the other agates. You'll also see differences in coloration, much more than I see in most of the others. Even though they're all dyed, so that it's not a matter of dyeing. It's more that these are less uniform, so the dye isn't necessarily taken up in exactly the same way. One other thing, I probably should have pointed this out before I broke it, but the surface of the stones with Crazy Lace Agate tends to be a little less regular than other agates. It's much more likely to have little bits of pitting or unevenness on the surface compared to the others, because it doesn't have that same glass-like feel to it like I see in other agates. So let's get these pieces put back together. As I've mentioned other times with other things, because this is not on a flat side on one side, it is much more difficult to put these back together because I don't have a flat surface for it to lean on. This one is also complicated by the fact that it has the hole in the middle. So as I put it back together, I always need to make sure that I'm keeping that hole open for the head pin that will be used to attach it to whatever makes it a necklace. So here's kind of loosely how it goes back together. We'll get this repaired and we'll be back to take a look at what we get. And here's what we get after the repair. As you can see, we get some fairly complex repair patterns due to the many little pieces it broke into. The other side is not quite as complex, but you still see quite a few repairs, including these that come down into the indentations in the stone. As I mentioned before, you can see some examples like this right here of some of the pitting on the stone, which is much more common in crazy lace agate than other forms of agate. And again, you don't see that translucency or that glass-like look that you typically see in agates. So crazy lace has a bit more dense feel or look to it, I think closer to what a jasper looks like than an agate. But that's what we get. To see more about this particular stone or other crazy lace agates, also sometimes called Mexican crazy lace agate, since this stone is only mined in an area in Mexico called Chihuahua. But to see any of these or other Kintsugi repaired stones, please visit our shop at akintsugilife.com. Thanks for joining us.